BullCaster, a talk show for all crypto bulls. We are here to discuss the most exciting industry topics with the best industry experts, influencers, and remarkable personalities. I'm Constantin Kogan, co-founder of BullPerks, and we're here today with amazing people, who are. I'm going to skip the entire intro because we had so much fun in the preparation. I'm going to do it more not formal because I just could not. If I will tell you what we discussed, it will be already cut down. So without further ado, meet Sachdev, who's the creative director of Cointelegraph MENA and managing director of Luna Media Corp and Luna PR, and Maral Nouri, the CEO of Luna PR with a background of financial advisory. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for that intro.
Yes, thank you. I mean, I skipped the doctor part because I would be just smiling too much. So we're trying to make it fun. We're going to try to make it less formal but at the same time useful and informative, right? So, given your background, maybe you can tell us a little bit what brought you to blockchain, right? And to the crypto as an industry.
Maral, you want to take this first?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So for me, it's quite an exciting story. I always had an interest in crypto and blockchain, but my biggest issue was the barrier of how to enter. I didn't really know how. And I happened to go to a yacht party quite a few years back, and I bumped into our CEO, Nisheta Sachdev. And she sold me a dream about, this is the PR agency I'm working on. This is my sister. We're running a really cool show right now. Do you want to get involved? We have clients and this. And I said, you know what? Sure, why not? So that's how I entered. So not you're it wasn't like I had books and I was reading. I just trying to find out. I bumped into the right people at the same time at a yacht party.
Okay, nice. Nish?
My story also involves our CEO, except she is my sister. So I was roped in really early sense.
Perfect. Clients and the deal. You're probably going to talk a little bit about the Cointelegraph deal that you're now consolidated one of the top media agencies in this region, right? But before that, let's talk about generally what's happening in the region, right? In Middle East and North Africa, because according to Chainalysis, in 2022, it's one of the fastest growing markets right now in your region. And now with the soccer competition FIFA 2022 in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, it's blowing up. A lot of crypto companies are flourishing. So tell us a little bit about the peculiarities of this particular region.
Yeah, for sure. I'll start and then Nish, you can add. So definitely when it comes to the UAE or this region as a whole, there's been an exponential interest, and through that interest, the government entities have been involved. And actually earlier this year, Sheikh Hamdan announced that there was basically a metaverse strategy. So he put that in play and said they wanted to put around 5 billion into the industry as a whole. They even wanted to measure some form of GDP through metaverse. And then actually earlier today, it was announced, I personally saw it on Arabian Business, that he actually wants the metaverse hub to begin in this region. So that's going to create over 40,000 jobs. And honestly, the possibilities are endless. So that's to do with, of course, metaverse, Web3 as a whole, blockchain. In this region, of course, there's the Ministry of I, there's regulators involved in Dubai, there's FARA, in Abu Dhabi, there's ADGM. So there's a lot going on at the moment, but maybe Nish, you want to add more?
Yeah, of course. What I found really interesting was that they have a Ministry of Blockchain and they have a Ministry of AI, and they have all these futuristic government bodies already working on implementing this technology, which is something that you just don't see very often. It's been an incredible journey as well, seeing it. They've already implemented blockchain in their medical and educational sectors. And they're always growing and, growing these government bodies, like Maral said, and with VARA and ADGM, and, really trying to incorporate and be, as much of a forward thinker as possible when it comes to blockchain.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. So if we will develop a little bit this conversation, so you mentioned education, healthcare, what are the other niches you believe will grow from here, like, and it will drive the massive adoption? Because we heard like there are a lot of projects that are including insurance, voting, welfare benefits, like, charity organization, like royalties and other opportunities. So what do you see as people who are working directly with projects?
So I feel like medical is, I think, one of the most basic needs with blockchain. It's one of those industries that hasn't developed, it hasn't grown. You go to a lot of hospitals, they're still using paper to hold on to medical records. Now, okay, fine, you have an online system, but that's about the end of it. What if the server crashes? There's no backup. And we see this as a massive problem. And being involved in the medical industry as well, I've seen patients lose their entire medical history and they won't know what they've done. So you have to go and trace back to doctors. And a lot of times you can't find them or the files are missing. I mean, it's complete chaos. So that's one of the easiest fixes is by using blockchain technology to hold these medical records. But aside from that, you have so many other aspects. I mean, from IP rights for royalties when it comes to music, for even like the smallest things with education, keeping a track record on, degrees and birth certificates and anything really. I mean, there's so many different use cases when it comes to blockchain. Payments being, I think, one of the most popular. So that too.
Yeah, for sure. And I
Maral,
think sorry,
maybe some examples.
Well, some example, what I was going to say is obviously like organizations, businesses, and even like government institutions are adopting blockchain because of the transparency, like in terms of data. So they're all using it. And I think Nish gave more than enough examples, to be honest.
Supply chain.
Yeah,
but that's
that's
the thing. That you live already in a country that's one of the most developed, like, and one of the most prominent and forward thinking in this particular domain, where the government and like the business as a sector are working together beautifully, right? So maybe something that you've noticed during the conferences or working directly with project that already is implemented already in your day-to-day life. Can you share something like that?
For me personally, it's actively trading, even transactions, like when we're paying, like making payments as a company, we're using blockchain. So like that's like the best use case for me as an individual, actively trading. Even at conferences, when there's sponsorship opportunities, people are being able to pay crypto. Even for conferences like Bitcoin that happens in Miami, when people are buying their ticket, they're able to purchase it with crypto. So those transactions are happening on the blockchain. But yeah, maybe Nish, you have some more examples.
Well, on the payment side, I am a massive advocate for DeFi. I love decentralized finance. I love what it's doing for the space. We have a lot of our colleagues from Lebanon, and I think we all know what's going on with Lebanese banks as well. And I mean, the blockchain fixes a lot. DeFi fixes a lot. It gives the power back to the people. And I feel like that's one of the most powerful messages behind crypto itself. Even though crypto is a small part of blockchain as a whole, it's really solving major issues across the board. I mean, and if you want another example to put it in perspective, my dad, he was born in the slums in India. So the hospital that he was born at doesn't exist anymore. He could not get his birth certificate. So when we lived in Singapore for a while, tried to get a PR there. They needed his birth certificate. He doesn't have one. So imagine what that could do if you could not lose something like that, if you could not tamper with documents like that, in someone's life. So I love that message of, owning your own data and owning your information and owning your net worth. It should be your right.
Yeah, like 100% agree. And I think digitization of documents is beautiful, what you're doing with Lens or personal documentation, healthcare. And now we've seen example in Qatar, they advertised that now you can, with Binance app, you can even pay at the gas station, right? So So how far are we like from, I don't know, going to a shopping mall in Dubai and pay with crypto for day to day, like, everything, groceries or anything that you want to purchase?
Well, if you have a
So
crypto card, we're there.
yeah, exactly. I was like, if you have Revolut, Crypto.com, or I use another one called Bitcoin Black. It depends. So there are some payment solutions there already in play, but in terms of mass adoption to that level, I don't think we're far off. I think we're very near that. It's just a matter of building that foundation and trust and expanding the growth of the whole industry as a whole, and we'll get there.
But I also feel like there's a lot of room to grow as well. A lot of people need to enter crypto, for it to be like a regular thing. Because when you go out, let's say to a coffee shop and you meet someone else in crypto, you're like, oh, hey, I'm in crypto too. You're like finding your little unicorn with you. But I guess if in those terms, we do have a long way to go. But when it comes to payments, I feel like we're really close. We're basically there.
That's beautiful. And the fact that, like, I think today actually, or to yesterday, there's a new higher committee of future technology development and digital economy. They approved a new strategy for metaverse in Dubai. And that's another great step. So there are a lot of amazing news. But let's talk a little bit about the also realities, right? So the market changed. I'm not going to bring up like what happened in the last few weeks. We all know it, the FTX crash and then the ripple effect. So tell us a little bit, how's it impacting the mood and the atmosphere like in MENA region?
I think so. My parents are not so heavily involved in crypto, but like in the last week, I've heard FTX come out of their mouth like 8 times. So it's definitely like people are hearing things, or like I have friends who don't understand anything, not interested, and they're like, "So FTX, what's happening? What's going on?" So unfortunately, bad news spreads like fire. Like I wish it was the opposite. Like great FTX also, or not FTX, but like Binance announced their. It's actually a great example. CZ was at a conference last week in Abu Dhabi, and he announced that Binance is now signed with ADGM. They're opening up shop, and the next guy who came on, that economist, said some really negative things, and that and that spreaded like fire. So I don't know. I think it's human nature to hear the negative and not the good and the positive. So the sentiment in this region it's like a 50-50 at the moment, but at least people are curious, and eventually we can change that negativity to mutual, and all of a sudden in a couple months or in a year from now, they're all happily trading on their centralized and decentralized exchanges. But it's interesting. It's definitely a conversation.
Yeah, I agree. But I have to say, I am getting a lot of support. I mean, it's cute to see all my crypto friends reach out and be like, how are you doing? Are you okay? Or like, are you affected? Is your team okay? Is Nikki fine? So like, I enjoy that side of things. It's been really good. And also I've been at conferences and everyone's always bullish. So not sure I've noticed it as much.
I think the first 2 or 3 days were a bit negative. Like it wasn't negative, but for the people who've been in the industry since 2012, 2014,
it was
and
stressful.
so on, like it was stressful, and it was just I think more so like upsetting, because from one end I guess this had to happen. So if you speak to some experts, it's like something like this had to happen eventually, like it's obvious, blah blah blah, and it's just part of growing pains. But I could understand the frustration, the sad, like people were a bit upset, obviously, and it just kind of is what it is.
Yeah, because everyone had a lot of trust in these centralized exchanges, and I guess no one really saw this coming. Well, no one, I wouldn't say no one. A lot of people called it, but I think the majority of people did not. They didn't see this coming.
Yeah, and then from exchanges, and then also from like the VC fund aspect as well. Like people are now also skeptical. Like before it was like, oh, this is VC backed, top VC, and everyone's running. Like everyone's like, okay, I'm gonna invest because so and so is backing this project. And now like people are like, I don't know, it's funny. Like every year it's like a different trend of how projects pump or get this like hype behind them. And we saw the VC phase, and I'm curious to see what's gonna happen, to be honest.
Yeah.
100%. And
and I will say that this sorry, I think I'm a little silly, but I think this kind of cleanse is needed, especially when an industry is so young, because it really helps clear out projects that aren't sustainable, that won't last for long, and it shines a light on the projects that are actually doing things right, you know, we've seen a lot of projects step forward and say, well, actually, here's our proof of reserves, or, you know, here's what we are doing to make sure this never happens, you know. So you're getting a lot of good out of it. But as Maral mentioned, people like bad news, you know, they like the drama.
100%. You know, there's actually scientific proof that emotions are 1,000 times more powerful than facts. So that's why, you know, we're gonna get to the phase when people will come down and understand it's not only hype, it's not only like all the scammers and people who are doing like for just embezzlement reasons, right? You know, so there are also builders who are for years of their life dedicate everything to build infrastructure. It's not easy. There's a lot of mistakes we're doing, and we're consolidating as an industry to help each other, right? To build the future. And yeah, we need the new industry standards. I would agree more with you that yes, it's proof of reserves is one thing that CZ announced. A few other exchanges supported him, already showcased that they have enough funds. And I think another thing is just like generally due diligence standards have to change. We invested in a lot of metaverse projects that are actually in Dubai and beautifully developing, creating amazing immersive experiences. But at the same time, like, you know, can we 100% say that their economies are sustainable? No, we're not sure. It's an experiment, right? So there's pros and cons to that, but I think we will open up the floor to our audience, right? For them to ask you questions, because they have a lot of questions. And I'm just going to read it, and you can jump on any question you would like. So we have Elon from YouTube. I don't think it's Musk, but potentially. Are there any specific industries that you think will greatly benefit from a mass adoption of crypto and blockchain technologies?
The question should be, are there any industries that won't? Like, I feel like it's gonna eventually be spread across, you know?
That's a good answer. We'll take it from there. Supply Chain from Twitter is asking, it's a tricky nickname. There are terms we use to describe crypto: trustless, permissionless, and so on. What are some other terms we can add to the list to attract the masses?
Adaptation. I don't know. Nish, you answer while I think of some.
I was hoping you would answer while I think.
Breaking barriers, security.
Power to the people.
Yeah, excitement, panic. Unfortunately, I can think of some like negative ones too, but I don't want to.
No, we're trying to bring people in.
I know. Yes. You're right. Sorry. Some PTSD. We're fine.
We're okay.
It's fine. So Intelligentsia from YouTube is asking, I assume different cultures require different approaches. Are there differences in how Cointelegraph MENA is operating compared to the other regions?
Of course.
Yeah.
Would you like to? Okay. So we like to focus on education. You know, right now the MENA region is growing rapidly when it comes to crypto, but the problem that we faced early on is when you have a massive inflow of crypto projects, your educational tools cannot keep up. So right now what we're doing is we're giving a platform for education to make sure that users know what they're getting into, how to stay safe, you know, just what to look out for in the industry. So that's our goal there. Maral, if you want to add anything here.
Yeah, sure. And then to that, so with Cointelegraph MENA, the website is in Arabic. Like there's an option to translate, but this region, obviously a lot of Arabic speakers. And of course, it's nice to see that English is across the board, but a lot of them might be more comfortable speaking in Arabic or better understand terminology, especially crypto terminology in Arabic. So at least they have that outlook as well. And then also in terms of like opportunity. So there's a lot of course, talent out of this region. And it's, let's say it's even artists or cooks or race car drivers or whatever, and then they're entering the space through NFTs or some form of platform within the Web3 space. We get to interview these people, allow them to have a voice in a platform where they're heard across the crypto space, and then of course, hopefully driving more like traditional individuals into the Web3 space as well, using like amplifying. So it's a super exciting like project and publication to be part of. It's just we're slowly getting there. So just keep an eye out for Cointelegraph MENA because it's growing rapidly.
Perfect. Now we have another interesting question from Malik Ulusan from LinkedIn. So in your opinion, is there a relationship between meme coins such as Doge and crypto adoption? Could meme coins help people to get accustomed to what crypto promotes?
This one's a tricky question. So I guess it depends what Elon chooses to do with Doge at this point. But for the rest of the meme coins, I personally like to call meme coins gambling. And I mean, it is. You don't know what it's gonna do. It's super volatile. Anything could pump it. It's all based around the hype. But then again, that's one of the exciting parts about crypto. It's one of the basic fundamentals of supply and demand. So I believe that it could help in getting a certain personality involved in crypto, and it could help show volatility. It could help show that of the power of what actual hype can do. I don't personally think that it will add too much value when it comes to the long-term benefits of crypto, but they are fun sometimes.
Yeah, and then just to add on to what Nisha's saying, so I don't know out of how many of those even meme coins, like utility is going to be a part of it, or there's actually use cases behind these memes. So SHIB and Doge, because of how viral they went as meme coins, they might actually have some utility behind them. So SHIB is on the Ethereum blockchain, so it's not its own, but it's eventually like these joke memes actually became something. So they both have like obviously some form of use case now, but it's not going to be like that with all of them. So I agree with Nish, kind of more on the gambling aspect, like just want to try it out. Sure, why not? And to be fair, it did open some windows for people to enter the space. I'm sure like a lot of people's first like purchase of a token was probably a meme, or at least their first 5.
Dogecoin. There was a massive wave of people that got in because of Doge, and we'll see more of those. So I guess it would help in some cases, but there are a lot of people that also lost money because of Doge and because of these meme coins.
Like volatility, speculation. So there's another good question, I think, in terms of Moxie from YouTube is asking, could Elon's acquisition of Twitter push crypto adoption to new heights, or this is an unrealistic expectation from now regarding current events like FTX next fall? So is it, by the way, also I would just add important thing for the people who might not know, is Twitter even popular in MENA region?
Yeah, well, yes and no. I think Twitter's just
Twitter
popular.
For the crypto scene, it's sorry to cut off. For the crypto scene, it's quite large, to be honest. It was like a lot of the crypto. First of all, a lot of the crypto influencers have moved here. Obviously, they have a following on Twitter, and then on top of that, I think there was even like a huge. They have like this thing once a year where they have like a boxing match with crypto influencers in this region. They had a massive one last year. I think they did it again this year if they haven't already. So it's pretty big, to be honest. But go ahead, Nish.
Yeah, so I mean, Twitter itself, I think, like Maral said, is massive within the crypto community. In the MENA region, I feel like people have been involved with Twitter and Reddit as their social media platforms from the get-go. I mean, now that Instagram's kind of blown up, but Twitter, I feel, has really played an important role here.
Perfect. Now, the continuation of this, so Blockchain Jelly from YouTube is asking, do you think the atmosphere and the crypto Twitter community affects how crypto is perceived by the masses? I admit it's all funny, but I also think the atmosphere is negative for psychology and promotes degeneracy. Interesting.
It's interesting because like for me, like I've found that like I go through phases where I love Twitter for crypto, and then I go through phases where I don't. So during a bull market, Twitter is fun. Like I love it. Once we hit that bear market, I've been like totally off Twitter and I'm all about LinkedIn because like this is when builders are working. This is when the real projects are coming through. And like that quality is actually coming out of LinkedIn, to be honest. Like they're posting, they're engaging, they're inviting. The community is like real there. Like it's not someone behind a screen. You can look them up, read about their past. Oh, they went to Harvard, or they did this or did that, or they were just working in a grocery store and now entered the space. But with Twitter, it's like you don't know who's who, and people, it's not taken as seriously. So maybe that will change eventually, but unless you're really involved in crypto, like people don't really know that Twitter is like a main thing for it. Like we obviously have a PR and marketing agency, and we hire PR and comm specialists that might be in tech, but maybe they're still new to the crypto scene. obviously they get onboarded, and some of them will get quite surprised and they're like, oh, so Twitter's where it's at, like, so it's not very common for people to realize unless they're already in the industry, I guess.
Yeah.
Perfect. Another question from Omar Yusuf from YouTube. How do you, I mean, you answered already briefly, maybe just elaborate on a little bit. So how do you see the current state of crypto adoption in MENA countries? Is it ahead or behind? I expect it to be ahead because of the financial revolution and being your own bank narratives.
Yeah, it's
definitely
definitely ahead. The only thing is that a lot of countries it's still illegal. So a lot of projects that are based out of the MENA region, they like to be Sharia compliant, make sure that they're not gambling enabled and things like that. So I guess it's more of a cultural thing, but the adoption on its own is definitely out there. The fact that they even have the term Sharia compliance is interesting enough. So we are seeing a lot of a lot of people that are in the space based out of Dubai, especially. I mean, almost everyone has either invested in crypto or knows about crypto. But I'd say even the majority of my friends, they've actually all been involved in crypto in some way or the other. So.
Yeah, and by the way, Sharia compliant, not to be completely, afraid of this. This is just mostly for bigger financial companies and companies that are dealing with loans. There are a few rules that they're very friendly. Like in Dubai, when we were in my previous hedge fund, we were offered like a very clear description of what you need to do to be Sharia compliant. There are agencies who help you with that. So don't be discouraged if you hear that. There are people to help you out in the region. And yeah, so I think we have one of the last questions I want to ask you before we wrap up. Raphael is asking, in your opinion, is crypto and blockchain adoption tied to market cycles? Will we have a moment in the future where crypto is so widely adopted that public opinion won't be affected by the prices?
That's a good question. Go ahead, Nish.
What do you think? It is definitely tied to the market cycles because that's when you get the news, right? So for example, what happened with Doge, that was a bull run. We saw Elon talking about it all the time. A lot of people entered because of it. And it made a lot of millionaires as well. But now with the FTX drama, I mean, news is still news. So people are coming up to me and they're saying, I want to get in. Everyone's saying now's the time to buy. How do I do this? I kind of contradicted myself there.
No, it's okay.
I do feel like I feel like it follows the news cycles rather than the price cycle. So whether it's good news or bad news, news spreads.
Yeah, I think crypto is still very volatile at the moment, whether it's politically, what's going on, whether we're in a recession or not, it does affect it. It's obvious. At an all-time high, we had a 3 trillion market cap, and now we're below 1 trill, which is obviously that's why, because people don't get it. They're like, wow, Bitcoin was 65K. Now it's like not even 17. And like they'll talk because they don't understand. But it's like these things that are happening around the world affect crypto at the moment. Will we see less of this as more regulations come in? Yes, we will. We definitely will. But it's still the beginning. So invest at your own risk.
That's the best advice. Now, I will leave you with the last question, which was actually a direct message to me because the person was shy to ask, but and asked not to name it. But it's a very controversial, very good question, so I have to ask you. Since you're in PR, right, and what happens with, let's say, Sam Bankman and people of similar caliber, right, when they're like either Forbes 30 under 30 or Fortune 40 under 40, and they're like praised by all the best influencers, by all the media, right? How do we as an industry, and you specifically from the PR standpoint, make sure that we do to the best of our ability to due diligence like projects and founders before we give them so much recognition?
That's really
that's it.
That's Maral?
No, I was gonna say I lost my train of thought a little bit, but basically, so for us, it's a bit different because when we onboard projects, we have to do our due diligence. We look into the projects, like, are they doxed? Are they not? Are they and Okay, you're right for crypto, but we can say the same for traditional markets too, in the finance industry and everything else. Like you can, put anyone on a pedestal and you don't know what they're going to do behind closed doors. So it's a good question, but at the same time, like we can only do our due diligence and then handle situations, I guess. It's a very loaded question and I don't want to answer it incorrectly, but
but I mean, anyone can become a celebrity. We've seen people fake it till they make it. Inventing Anna,
yeah.
You have all these people that have really just made a name for themselves as well. And that falls out of our realm sometimes. We don't have control over what people do. And even as an agency, we cannot stop a founder of a project reaching out to every single publication out there saying, I'm the best in the industry and I've won this award, and then actually win an award and then use that. So, like a lie, you can build on lies as well. And that we can't help you there, there's nothing we can do for those cases.
And honestly, as a whole, the industry is still very new. It is very new. Like these things, it's not that they have to happen, but they will happen. And being at the front line with the media, like it is our job to, take away that fear, take away that confusion. And of course it's due to like, the learning curves that come with crypto and hopefully put the best at the top and continue that mass adoption.
And education.
My summary, yes, my summary would that be like, that don't kill the messenger, that whoever you want to blame, whether it's a public media or any PR agency or any service providers, whether it's bankers, auditors, compliance firms, I mean, we all try, investors also like us, like we all try to do the best thing like we can. But again, sometimes we also do mistakes. Sometimes we also can be tricked by people who we want to believe in, and they sell us a big dream and big vision, and we give them a chance, but sometimes we're wrong. So I think, we have to heal together as an industry. We have to help each other. And listen, thank you so much, Nish and Maral, for sharing your experiences with us. And it was amazing to hear from you, to learn from you. And I think our community, we're like super happy with the answers you provided. And if you will share all your contact information under the description. There'll be more questions. Please reach out to them directly. The Luna PR will share the website. And thank you everyone for joining BullCaster today. And we'll see you in about 2 weeks at 4 p.m. UTC or 11 a.m. EST on YouTube Live, LinkedIn Live, Twitter, all the lives possible. So thank you so much again, ladies. It was really a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.